All right, he's gone. Let's go.
Hello.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, I went ahead and just got my mic. We're moving next week, so I figured I'd have to take it down anyway. So,
So,
yeah.
is it going to be your first house?
Yeah, we decided to make the leap and go ahead and purchase a house. So, we're definitely really excited about it.
D-
Um, oh,
Congratulations. That's like a big deal. Getting your first house.
yeah, we're really excited. We're expecting our second kid in June. So we decided we might as well go ahead and make the leap and buy a house so that we can have plenty of room for all of us to grow into. So,
Damn,
yeah.
you're living the dream. You're going to be having the perfect nuclear family that that all the
I know,
white
right?
nationalists say is dying out. I
I
actually
know.
I actually saw a pretty funny thread in your Instagram comments the other day. Um, a lot of right wingers, or I should say, like really far right people, have been getting
Mhm.
really upset with your new sort of what you've been doing lately, being like a free thinker and kind of not necessarily ascribing completely to conservatism, and they've been getting really mad. And I saw one of them like ranting about how your wife is a Jew, and I
Which is
was,
literally not true at
it's,
all.
isn't she like Aryan?
Yeah, my wife is literally Aryan. The thing that's funny is like my lifestyle is like the ideal lifestyle that the alt-right is always like jerking each other raw about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's why I posted because I thought it was funny. Like, I have a white wife, we have two kids, we're married, we live together, and I work and she's a stay-at-home mom. So I'm like, my wife is a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. So I'm like, you guys, I think they're all just jealous, you know?
Well, I think jealousy is a big part of it, and I so it's a bit of a cope, you know. But
Hmm.
also when, so I'm a big believer in that, like being able to change people's minds with like logical arguments is the best thing you can like try to do. And I try not to go into the big doomer position of no, like some people just their minds can't be changed. But I genuinely believe that like once you get to the point when you're like a full on Nazi, like believing in like the great replacement, not the great replacement, the Jewish question and stuff, you can't really
Hmm.
be convinced because any data that contradicts what you're saying or what you believe, you'll just say it's Jewish.
Right, exactly. And you know what? A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that where they'll just refuse to listen to any reason because they will literally just write it off as like the Jews did it. And that's the problem is you really can't reason with like conspiratorial nut jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Um and like that's why. You any kind of data, they'll just reject it because it doesn't support what they want it to support necessarily and they'll just write it all off as like
Absolutely.
being from the Jews. It's pretty fucking stupid.
And it's sad too, because like I know that there's a lot of people, and I don't know like where the threshold is. Like, are there just certain people who are in a position where they'll never change their mind because they're so set in like whatever ideology they hold, whether it be like the like lib cucky, Bernie Sanders is sexist because he's a guy, and then
Right. Yeah.
or even just like far right neo Nazis. Like, are there people who are just so cemented in their ideas they'll never change their mind? And is it only
Mhm.
like a certain like extremely logical percentage of the population that if you present the right arguments and the right data, they'll change their mind? Um, I always wonder where that threshold is, and how that works, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's kind of like I know it's cliche to say you can't reason someone out of an idea they reason themselves into. But I think that's kind of how it is for a lot of people on the far right. Like the more like I mean, I get called a neocon all the time, but that's really not what I am. But even so, like even neocons, I think like they can be reasoned with. You can kind of reach out to them. They kind of like accept like they can accept data and they can like I there seems to be like multiple types of people that follow me. Like some of them are like hardcore lefties who are like, I'm a lefty and I really like Hunter because he gives me like a different perspective, which I always appreciate that. Then I have like the far right like dipshits who are just like triggered by everything. And then well, I guess there's probably some SJWs that follow me too. But anyway, and then there seems to be like the neocon sort of like just kind of your like standard Republican, I guess. Um, and like even when I talked about like the gender thing, which is definitely a really big break from like conservative ideology, I was getting comments from people that were like, Hunter's like he's entitled, he's allowed to think how he wants, and even if I don't agree with him, I still can appreciate that he speaks his mind. Or like people who are like a little bit more reasonable, I think.
Oh yeah, I was really surprised at how many people were like completely okay with you making that post. But the people who weren't, I had a good laugh at some of those comments, and I saw you ripping on them in the comments too. You responded.
I responded to a couple people, yeah, just because like some people just make some really dumb like I don't mind getting well, first of all, I can't really mind getting comments about anything because I get so many comments with everything I post. But and that's not even patting myself on the back. Like I literally post things to kind of attract a lot of comments. But um sometimes like people they if they like comment like a reasonable argument or a reasonable response, then that's cool. But it's the people who are just like so fucking retarded that make me that I just have to respond to. And they're like anytime they say something like you need God or like this is what happens when the country strays from God, and it's like people are more accepting. What? So it's those types of people. Like I got a comment the other day from a. I made a post that I said I want gay married couples to be able to protect their marijuana with guns or something,
Mm-hmm.
and some straight pride like page commented they're like you want perverts to own guns, and I just like sometimes when I find the comment that like makes me kind of pissed off, I just go off on the person. So I told that guy, I was like, you know what makes me really happy? You're dying out. When you die, your fucking like worldview is gonna be like a failure or something. I don't know what I said,
Damn,
but
you went nuclear.
yeah, I mean sometimes like you just you have to like hoes get mad, hoes mad, man. You gotta like respond to them sometimes. It's fun to feed the trolls here and there, but
Yeah.
you can't get too caught up with it.
Well, it's easy, it's safer to do on Instagram, but the amount of Twitter accounts I've lost for going nuclear on people on Twitter. Oh no. I
I know.
my
It's so
name
sad.
my name is blacklisted from Twitter. I'm doing a big rebrand soon, so hopefully I'll be able to get back on Twitter and turn over a new leaf, but sometimes I'll just see someone say something so dumb. I just can't help but like respond and go off on them, and then I say something
Twitter's really
TOS.
Twitter's really bitchy like that. I mean, you
Oh
like
yeah.
I mean, I got like dog anytime I get dogpiled and then I respond, I'm always the one that ends up getting banned.
Hmm.
So I think, but part of the reason for that, I think, is because I was already previously banned. So when they realize I'm back on the platform, they just ban me again because you're not really
Yeah.
supposed to make another account. Um, so some of that contributes to it, but I don't know. It was the thing like, excuse me, it's a little late. When I was banned originally, at first I was like, how could I have been banned? What did I do wrong? And then like now I look back and I'm like, I can kind of see what I did wrong. I
Yeah.
mean, the my honestly, I still brag on some of the roasts that I drop because they were just so funny. But like one girl, she told me she was like, delete your account, and I told her that I would delete. I said I'll delete my account when you delete 10 pounds or something.
Oh,
Um,
that's a spicy one. Damn.
yeah, I always that's the thing is I would always just go off on people like that, and I would just have so much fun. I would end up like, not using the best judgment, I guess. But
Hey, that is big respect from me,
yeah,
Honestly, shit talking people on the internet is an art. It's an art
it
form,
is.
really. I think I originally got like my very first Twitter ban. I think I tweeted something along the lines of like, "Turfs should jump off of a cliff in Minecraft," and Twitter didn't seem to care too much that I said in Minecraft at the end, so I got banned. And then
Which is
from
kind of dumb.
yeah, it basically from my understanding, what Twitter will do is if you get enough reports, they'll just ban you no matter what you said, if it can even somewhat be interpreted as TOS. But after that, I think I got banned because I called Christy Winters a cunt. That might have
Oh,
I think I did that, or was it
Christy Winters.
Christiosity? I don't
She
know.
Christy Winters is like she's like a mega Wokescold. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can get into the Wokescold stuff a little bit later because
Okay.
I'm gonna get so much shit because I've done 2 videos in a row about that topic, and
Okay.
I'm getting accused of being a Dave Rubin by some people, so I want to be careful. But um, shit, we just got right into all the memes here, right off
I
the
know,
bat.
right?
Shit.
Yeah, really.
I guess like we'll start off by like talking about how you've sort of had your big like change in political opinion? And I guess from my perspective, where it started for you would have been like back in 2017 when you talked to Clancy, right?
Well, that was when I first transitioned from like God.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like it was just that I was raised in a really like I was raised very conservative, very Christian. Not really, to be honest, I wasn't really raised all that conservative in the sense that like my parents were I mean, they voted Republican, but they were more a little more apolitical. Like it was very unusual for them to really be talking a lot of politics. Um, but my grandparents were really, really political. So they're more the ones who I've always credited for like getting me into politics. And although we don't really see eye to eye anymore, I'm still, I still have a lot of respect for them because they got me into politics and they have their opinions, I have mine, but we still have, respect for each other. And it's also, a lot of fun now to argue with them. Um, but yeah, I guess it was more like my transition from God that the thing is when I after I sort of like became atheist agnostic, however you want to put it, I don't really care. I was still like super super conservative at that point. I mean, I talked a little bit about this on the Vosh stream, but I never got like full blown like neo-Nazi kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I always kind of thought like the idea of an ethno state was kind of stupid, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. Um, and I also really was like I was very quick to like write off dog whistles or anything. Like I never took that kind of shit seriously. Um, but I would say the closest I ever got, and this is what I said on Vosh stream, is when talking about Islam, I would say a lot of things like this religion cannot coexist with Western culture or something like could have very well been interpreted as like a pretty like like kind of a stepping stone to the alt right. I was
Yeah.
never I was never really alt right. And I would be accused of being alt right sometimes, but I wasn't alt right because I never really like made things about race, and I also never really bought into the whole Jewish question. To be honest, I with all the time I spent in like hyper conservative circles, I was actually kind of unfamiliar with the Jewish question until I started watching Vosh. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until I was familiar with sort of like the dog whistles and their talking points that I realized I was like, holy shit, this kind of idea is like everywhere.
Yeah, the far right and their euphemisms and their dog whistles, it's actually really, really effective too. Because when you try to their goal when they try to claim some symbol that's like, let's use like the OK symbol for example, they like it the way that they use it is in a way they try to muddy the water up so much that if you point out like, hey, in some cases, there are people who are white nationalists or white supremacists who are using this symbol to signal other people. And
Hmm.
like normies will be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? It's just the circle game," and they'll call you crazy, and then they move on
Yeah,
with
it's
it.
like it's a little like gaslighty almost
Yeah.
because it the thing is I still think, to be completely honest, that sometimes people get a little overblown with that when it's like they're launching an investigation because
Yeah.
someone in the background did a hand sign or something. I think sometimes that's a little stupid, but it does seem to be like yeah, you're right. You're definitely right that some white nationalists most certainly have co-opted that to mean white power.
Hmm.
So I think that it's kind of like everything, like it's a little more nuanced, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And
But getting
like,
back to kind of what sorry, go ahead.
sorry. I just wanted to clarify something because a lot of people, especially when I argue with like more center-leaning people, they'll be like, "This has happened a lot." Like I'll post like a Pepe meme on Twitter, and some
Hmm.
centrist will come along and be like, "Huh, I thought the Pepe meme was a Nazi meme," and it's like, no, no one's claimed that. Even the ADL, when you go to their listing of like Pepe and everything like that, they specifically say you have to consider the context of its use to determine whether or not it's being used in a hateful manner. And it's
Right.
I feel like the even on the other side, it's being overblown. How like they'll say, "Oh, the media thinks everyone who does uses Pepe or does the OK sign is a Nazi." It's like, well, no. Even the media says you have to consider the context. It just seems like there's
Right.
this. No, I wouldn't call it a narrative, but this tendency for people on the internet to just overblow everything when it comes to
Yeah.
these situations.
No, you're definitely right. And see, it's actually interesting to hear that because way back, like I actually did a video on the Pepe thing. Um, and I, didn't do the proper amount of research, of course, like a lot of my very old content. um, but yeah, no, you're right that it definitely matters on the context you use. I mean, the most blatant, and obviously this is a very blatant to the point of like you'd be stupid not to see it, but like I've literally seen like some Pepe memes that like they have like swastikas as the eyes. So it's like obviously that's probably a neo-Nazi symbol where some normie on the internet posting like a sad frog probably isn't like dog whistling to the alt right.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I agree that there's definitely some nuance there. But what basically happened, kind of back what I was saying, is I kind of walked away from God. And a lot of that came like what do you where do you fall with religion? I'm assuming you're an atheist?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been an atheist. I don't really know if there could possibly be a higher power. I typically don't want to ascribe to any type of like religion because let's say I believe in God, that's kind of like a answer to the question of why we're here almost, and I don't want sort of like a simple answer to that. I feel like just chalking it up to, oh, God set us all into existence, however it happened. It kind of
Mhm.
it seems to like sort of kneecap progress and discovery in philosophy, right? When
Yeah.
instead we could focus on observing the universe, how it expands, things that we can observe in space and everything, and try to
Mhm.
find out our reason for existence through that. It just
Right.
seems so finite and disappointing, you know. But
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
wasn't raised religious, so I never really grew up with it, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that I understand that. I mean, for me, like I said, I was raised really, really Christian. And I always want to clarify whenever I say this, like I'm not saying this by any means like talk shit on my parents. Like they were great parents and they're still very supportive of me even to this day. But I was raised very Christian, and I just started to realize that like Christianity became such a source of anxiety for me rather than anything else. That I think I started to sort of like resent it in a way. Um, because I found myself literally like stressing. Like when I was little, I would kind of have like OCD anxiety kind of attacks about like, am I really a Christian? Am I really going to go to heaven? What like a lot of it sort of fed into what I now know is OCD that I've been kind of diagnosed with and shit. But um, so yeah, I eventually walked away from God in 2017, and I stayed pretty conservative then. And it wasn't really until I started arguing with Vosh and everything that some things really started turning around for me. Um, Kind of like I explained this on Vosh's stream, so I don't want to just be repeating myself, but I'll give you the brief summary. Is like, we had our kid, um, which she wasn't planned, but that's okay. Not every sometimes the best things in life aren't planned, right? Um, but yeah, we had our kid, and I really didn't think that was right for me. Like I was really in a place where I was so consumed with like stress and anxiety about the situation, and I had basically convinced myself that having a kid was like the worst thing ever that could happen to me, that it was completely wrong. um and for months on end I basically used my anxiety, used my feelings essentially. Now, granted, I wasn't really on medication at the time, so that probably played a role as well. But I kind of just let my feelings take a hold of me, and I convinced myself to the point that I was like, like so sure that having a kid is wrong for me, that being in this relationship is wrong for me, and so it caused me to make a lot of bad decisions. Like I broke up with my now wife. Um, and it turned out to be literally just fucking awful. Like it was the worst decision I've ever made, and still, like I'm still dealing with so much regret and so much shit that was caused from that mistake that I made. So that was the first time, um, when I realized I was like, here I am, so sure of something, and I turned out to be so incredibly wrong about everything that I thought I knew. For like several months, I basically convinced myself that this was the right decision, and it turned out to be like like literally the worst decision I've ever made. So that I think subconsciously caused me to be a little more open-minded and sort of start thinking like if I was so wrong about something that I thought I was so right about, what else am I really wrong on? And that was right around the time. It was right around the time where was actually calling me out at first. Um, when me and my then I guess girlfriend got back together. So things were sort of like turning around for me. I was realizing that I made mistakes, that I was thinking that I was so confident in myself for a lot of things that turned out to be really wrong. And that all kind of played in with me debating Vosh. And I mean, he wiped the floor with me in that debate. I'm not even ashamed to say it anymore because it forced me to like step back and reflect a little bit. And I was like there's just not enough data on my side. And I kind of think that was coming anyway. I think Vosh probably just expedited it in a way because I found myself starting to feel like not really insecure in my beliefs, but like I was a little scared. Like I could tell like I was a little scared of debating people, or I was a little like I wasn't as confident in my like hyper conservative ideas as I thought I was. So that's kind of what happened, I guess, long story short.
Yeah, that's like a shit ton to go through. And honestly, I think one of the things that I admire a lot about you is that, well, I had like a very big political change myself. I was isolated. I wasn't like a public figure with a large audience. You're changing your beliefs publicly and reconsidering your ideas publicly in front of an audience that
Mhm.
subscribed to you when you held these certain beliefs. And so you don't just have the threat of like, oh, what if, what if I change my ideas, my audience doesn't respect me anymore because they wanted me to be a conservative. But on top of that,
Mhm.
you have to admit you were wrong, or maybe you presuppose too much in front
Mhm.
of the world. And that's got to be a lot harder than just like, oh, I see a bunch of videos that disprove everything that I believed, and I start doing my own research in private, and then I change my mind. You're
Mhm.
doing this all publicly, and I imagine there's a lot of shit you get for that, even from my
Yeah.
audience.
Oh yeah, I mean I definitely get shit from it. And like I understand there's like definitely a percentage of my audience that thinks that I'm like kind of a fraud, or they'll call me like a grifter or whatever, but that doesn't really bother me because one, I know it's not true, and two, if I were like some kind of a grifter, I wouldn't be willing to change my opinions
Absolutely.
because changing some of my opinions has cost me like a lot of views and a lot of subscribers. um, but it's kind of like what I said in like my I write on my website too. I said something along the lines of like I started my channel. Literally, my channel began for me to share my opinion on things that I felt really passionately about. It was never like I always had a passion for YouTube, and I always like to be honest, like not to pat myself on the back, but from when I started my channel, I was pretty good at it because I'd had some experience doing YouTube in the past. Um, so I always had a passion, but like I started my channel when I was still working like a minimum wage job at like a clothing store. So I didn't start my channel with the sole intent of making money. I thought it would be nice if I could make money on it eventually, but like I didn't even I didn't even turn monetization on my channel till I had like 80,000 subscribers. So I just kind of like I was posting content that I truly believed in. And now like I have to be honest with my audience because I literally created my channel so that I could do that. And if I can't share opinions that like I genuinely hold, then like not only has the channel lost its purpose, but my doing YouTube itself just becomes nothing but a curse because then I just feel like a fraud the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't feel like you're able to be yourself. And I completely understand that as well. My political
Right.
opinions, even since I started doing political YouTube, have changed a lot too. I've been doing
Hmm.
this for about 10 months, and when I started, I was a neoliberal, and now I'm a leftist, I'm a socialist. And so
Hmm.
I have changed my opinions publicly, and not only that, but I sucked at this when I first started. I mean, if you go back and you look at my old stuff, I'm usually
Hmm.
embarrassed about what I make nowadays because I can never be like satisfied with my content. But what I made back then, I'm embarrassed of it. So it's actually neat that you had that little bit of like of a boost when you started because you already had a little bit of experience.
Yeah, I started off doing a channel with my siblings way back. So way back in like 2012, 2013 through a little bit of 2014. I did a channel with my siblings where we would make skits and stuff. And I mean, that kind of content is what I'm embarrassed of because it's just really cheesy. But it goes back like even way back, like since I was probably shit, I don't know, maybe like 8 or 9, I've been doing video stuff. Like when I was really little, for like my birthday, my parents would buy me like video editing software, or like a new camera, or for a long time I was into like making home movies and then burning them on DVDs, and I would like make the DVD menus and everything with like software I got. So for a long time I had some experience with the video stuff, but I was always actually pretty camera shy because I was usually the one who wrote the videos, and then I just like to do the filming and the editing part. I was always too embarrassed to be on screen. And it wasn't really until I decided to start the channel that I have now that I really had to force myself to be like really comfortable on camera. And I mean, like if you go back to my first videos, they're pretty fucking cheesy and corny, and my acting is definitely really bad. But like I was just kind of in a very unique position, and I was very blessed to sort of have experience doing video for so long. And the thing is I guess like if you go back even further, like even before I was doing video stuff, I was doing like I would record audio dramas on like my little Windows 98 laptop. Um so like I kind of always had a passion for like entertaining. But it wasn't really till I got older that I found like a passion in speaking my mind and being vocal about my opinions. And so I was able to kind of mix the two of them and I guess create the channel I have now. So definitely fortunate to be in that kind of a position, I guess.
Yeah, you got really lucky that you had parents that like bought you stuff to like to help you learn video production and editing and whatnot pretty early on, and then you had
Oh
your
yeah.
grandparents who got you into politics. Um,
Yeah. I was
I
kind of like, it was literally like, if looking back now, it was like I was being set up for this.
The
It
stars
was
kind of aligned.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
was really, really perfect. I remember way back actually, I was making a movie. I made a hour-long horror movie when I was like 15, and I was saving up for a new camera because the one I was using broke. It had some issue where if I took it outside, it would be too bright and like it wouldn't adjust the exposure. It was like an auto camera, right? And it wouldn't work.
Uh,
So my parents surprised me and bought me like this I think it was a Sony Pixie or some kind of fucking, I don't know, some kind of little like camcorder. But my parents were always really supportive with that kind of stuff. So I was definitely very blessed to be in a position and have parents that were like encouraging me and stuff like that too. I mean, my my dad would literally act in some of my movies for me. So it was
Damn,
definitely really, yeah, it was really cool, honestly.
I'm
They,
jealous.
yeah, man. I mean, they set a really great example for me for how I'm going to be with my kids. Like, I definitely want to make sure that regardless of what their passion is, I want to definitely make sure that I am like a part of it and I encourage them.
Yeah, you're gonna be a good dad. I can tell. Like for me,
Thank you.
my parents are not very supportive at all whatsoever. I mean, I make enough money to do this as a job. They don't really care. And not only that, but God, I got into like our politics should align pretty well, but we constantly end up in like political arguments because my parents are the kind of like neoliberal people that do the whole like, oh, Bernie Sanders is a misogynist because he's running against women, um,
Oh God.
and like I unironically, I could read the tweet, or not the tweet, the text argument me and my mom had last night over the phone. Um, she unironically called me a Nazi, uh, which was pretty funny.
Oh no.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, you watched my video about my political story. Having
Hmm.
like a really, really abusive feminist mom pushed me pretty hard into like the rabbit hole towards like fascism, you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, that I didn't really get that that support, you know.
Yeah, man, that definitely really fucking sucks. I mean, I watched that whole video. I thought it was really good.
Thank you.
But yeah, I remember you talking about how your mom really wasn't too supportive, and I actually had a conversation with my wife about it afterwards because I told her how that I just watched a really interesting video, and then I was talking to her about how your mom would say that like you were arguing because you hate women or something. We both agreed. We were like, "Oh my God, that's a horrible approach."
It is, and she did it to me last night too. Me and her were
You
arguing
don't
over
get a free pass for being a woman. Like
I know,
that's the
yeah.
opposite of equality, right?
And that's the thing about it. Like whenever I first kind of got out of the rabbit hole, I my mindset was okay. the stereotypical SJW, like feminazi, whatever, right? That doesn't
Hmm.
really exist. Like, there's probably a few examples out there, but most of them don't really exist. But now, like, as a
Hmm.
leftist, when I find myself running into situations where, like, yeah, those people do exist, I'm torn between, like, okay, they do exist, but they're not a big deal. If I focus on them too much, I'm afraid I'm gonna become a reactionary, you know? I don't want to like rail on them too much, you know? And I have the same issue with Wokescolds, right? I don't want to pull a Dave Rubin, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, the Dave Rubin scenario too is pretty. I think he's pretty interesting little character. I don't know. To be honest, like this sounds so petty, and I'm really not butthurt about it, even though there's no way to say this without sounding butthurt. But like, I he still hasn't had me on his show, and I've literally met the guy, and I'm like, hey, you should have me on your show. But whatever, it's just kind of funny. Irrelevant point, I know, but it's funny.
You'll probably get on there. I imagine like at some point you'll end up getting on there. I know like YouTubers that are much smaller than you that have gotten on there.
I know. Yeah, so do I. And I'm like, why is he having them on and not me? And see, it sounds salty. There's no way around it, but it's still kind of funny.
I'd be pissed too. Let's be real here. I would be pissed off
Yeah.
if I had the opportunity to get on a platform like that and like it didn't work out. I would be pretty upset. I got invited like a long time ago to go on Jesse Lee Peterson's show. The problem was at the time I wasn't making jack shit, so I couldn't afford
Mm.
to fly out to LA from Florida and
He should have paid for your flight.
I could have done it over video, but I was like, okay, if I'm ever gonna do an interview with Jesse Lee Peterson, I'm gonna do it in person. I'm gonna be sitting there right across the table from him, and I want to be able to I need to be within like touching distance because that's like the ideal situation. I want to have
Right.
like a across the table discussion with him. You know,
Is Jesse Lee Peterson like is he legit or is he
he's
kind of
legit.
just a troll?
No, he's 100% legit. He's a I think he's a pastor. He like
Oh
the
God.
I honestly think that he just has insane brain worms. The explanation for his voice is he's like a cleft palate. Um,
Hmm.
I don't I Jesse Lee Peterson in many ways drains like turns me into a doomer. You know, drains my faith in humanity every time I see him. But at the same time, his existence is so hysterical. I can't help but laugh my ass off when I see it. I feel like the Joker, you know? Um,
Yeah. No, it's what the things that kind of annoy me the most is people that are so like to me they're so obviously like fucking idiots, but then they have a following who like thinks they're smart. That's what kind of
yeah.
bugs me a lot. Like I got a comment the other day that said something along the lines of like we still have real conservatives like Jesse Lee Peterson or something, and I was like, is this is this for real? It's
Uh,
just it's definitely some cringe, but I
yeah.
don't know.
It's
Well,
insane that. Oh,
you
sorry.
gotta have someone to laugh at, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, like people like No Bullshit and Sargon, and I watched your discussion with Vosh. Me and Vosh are like really good friends, so like I watch all of
Okay.
his stuff. I saw your discussion with Vosh, and I know like No Bullshit was one of your like closest friends when you first started doing this political stuff. So
Yeah,
like
I mean, like, yeah. It was that's a little. It's all kind of complicated, a little bit of a bummer. But the thing for me is like I never really got into the like I said, I never got into the YouTube thing to make friends. So for me, like whether I'm gonna lose friends or gain friends out of doing YouTube, that's just not my priority, and it doesn't really matter all that much to me at the end of the day because like I have a goal and I don't really care if people want to be my friends or not as far as it goes. However, it has been, me and Vosh have become pretty good friends too, actually, and he's a really great guy. He's very like genuine, very supportive, and I when I watched your transition video and you talked about how you and Vosh became friends, I thought that was cool because I felt like that's sort of like what happened with me and Vosh. Only like the thing is Vosh took a really really good approach with me because he challenged me and I had no choice but to like debate him eventually, and then I realized that a lot of my ideas were shit. That they just weren't founded in anything. And I think that's really helped cause me to sort of take a step back and think critically about things. I still like, I talked to Vosh about this too, but like I still don't really agree with him on everything. I'm definitely not I'm really not so sure about the whole socialist thing. That's still kind of like a bad word to me, but you know, I'm definitely willing to like look into it, research it, and everything. And you know, if I'm being completely candid, I do kind of like Bernie as far as like any you know option on the Democrat side, I guess. So
He's
it's all like I'm kind of like you know, I'm just doing some research on it. That's all, you know.
Yeah, he's definitely the most, at the very least, and I feel like like any reasonable conservative would also agree with this. He is the most genuine and honest Democrat
Absolutely.
there is.
Absolutely. Even back like in my like beginning days on YouTube making Bernie, couldn't even help but like admit at that point that I'm like, At least he's genuine, and at least he's not like a fucking corporate robot like Hillary Clinton."
Yeah, I was so pissed off. I guess we can sort of in a minute, because there was like a few things I also wanted to cover. We can go into the Iowa caucus stuff that's happening, because
Hmm.
there's a lot of news today, like the impeachment shit, the Iowa
Yeah.
caucus, coronavirus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Fuck. So yeah, whenever I came into this, because you mentioned you didn't really expect to make friends, I expected to, like, I came into this whole Breadtube thing thinking that, yeah, this is like a new political side of YouTube that's kind of coming out of the ashes of what was the very failed progressive community on YouTube of like 2014 to 2016. Because back then, like, the only progressive content on YouTube were not effective. I don't think
They were
these were.
like Cat Black, right?
Yeah, well, like Cat Black is cool, but not very effective at appealing to like the normie crowd. Same goes for like Riley J. Dennis or Milo Stewart, and they just got ripped
And a
apart
lot of
and
yeah.
dogpiled by
That's what I
the.
was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my God. I mean, it's funny you bring up Riley Dennis because like he was like my um like arch nemesis back in the day.
I
I mean,
don't
yeah, that
I don't know what
go ahead.
Riley Dennis's like pronouns are. I would probably just go with they them. I don't know if
I'm
they.
sorry, did I say he?
I think yeah, you did.
Oh, my apologies. My apologies. I'm
I
sorry.
I
Yeah, I'm trying, you know, I'm trying to get better at that. I'm actually pretty good at it now, but every now and then I still you know, fuck up a little bit.
He's recovering. He's recovering. Oh
Don't get
yeah.
me woke scolds, please.
Yeah, well, the woke scolds won't go after you. You're on the somewhat on the right. The woke scolds only go after people on the left, because you can only get woke credits for going after people who are on the left, because you can outwoke them. Also,
Yeah.
Vadim, aka Creationist Cat, is in chat, and he wanted me to ask you if you got his message about Blair White.
You know what? I'm glad that he's in the chat here. I did get his email a while back. I've been meaning to respond, and I completely forgot to. I'm so fucking terrible at responding to emails. Uh, Vadim, shoot me a follow-up email. Um, Maybe we can like chat sometime on like Discord or something, on or off stream, doesn't matter. But I'm so much better at like conversations like this than anything with email. I'm literally like a grandpa when it comes to that shit.
Yeah, I've got like a billion backed up Discord DMs that I haven't gotten to. It gets stressful sometimes because I'm not gonna name any names here, but I'll get like a lot of trans people in my DMs that are like really depressed and dealing with suicidal tendencies that'll message me and be like,
Mhm.
"Your videos keep me from like harming myself," and I'm like, okay, now I feel obligated to hold up a conversation, because that if I don't, like, what's the implication there? It can
Right.
be, that can be stressful. I mean, you're like way bigger than I am. I can't even imagine, like.
I mean, I honestly, a lot of the messages I get, like, with emails or whatnot, like, I just get so many emails. Partly, like, a lot of them are spam also, but like Instagram DMs and even a lot of Discord DMs, I just kind of turn off notifications and ignore them. I'm not able to respond to everyone anymore.
Yeah, I try to read as many messages as I can. I actually ended up meeting my girlfriend, who's in chat right now. She like hit me up on Instagram like months ago, back when I had like wasn't constantly getting DMs and I could actually read them all. And
Hmm.
she'd message me like a month later. I just would never have gotten to her message, more likely than not. But
Oh wow.
yeah, like when I got into this YouTube thing, I thought that this new lefty community that was rising up out of the ashes of the, I would say, failure of a progressive YouTube community prior. I thought everyone was going to be friends. I thought we were going to mostly get along, and it would be sort of like a cohesive type thing. Very
Hmm.
quickly, I realized that everybody in this sphere fucking hates each other or has
Oh
some
yeah.
drama going on. Like you have the dirtbag leftists, like I guess I am because I've been, I associate with Vosh, so now I'm a dirtbag leftist now, even though I'm not even like that edgy.
Hmm.
Then you have like your more mainstream people like ContraPoints and H Bomber Guy and whatnot, and it's like there's so much strife going on,
Hmm.
It's
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of went into uh uh like back when I was first building up my channel, when I was doing like a lot of anti-feminism stuff, I remember I was like so surprised to see that like Shoe on Head was shitting on me
mm,
because I was like, "What? Like we both don't like feminism. Like how can she not like me?" And then same thing for me. Like I quickly realized I was like, "Wait a minute. Everyone hates everyone."
yeah.
So I think that helped me learn really quick not to be in it to make friends. And I still, I still keep my distance from most people just because like I said, like I'm not looking to make friends by doing this. I have much bigger goals than to like join some kind of like a community sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I've sort of I'm still pretty naive, but I was definitely more naive when I started this. I was 19 when I started doing this politics stuff. Now I'm 20. I mean, like
Mm.
I'm still, I feel like if we try hard enough, we can bring Breadtube together, help mend all these
Breadtube, I
differences.
mean, there's no denying that Breadtube is really, really effective. I mean, it was effective with me for sure. And I think that there's a lot of other people who not like take it from me that not everyone on the right, like I still have a like majority of my audience is right leaning, and I love my audience. They're very, very supportive, and most of them are really, really reasonable too. So like people's minds can be changed. um so like the bread tube stuff, and that's what bothers me when I see like the Wokescolds getting on Vosh or whatever. I'm like, people are attacking Vosh, but like he's actually changing minds and being effective while they're doing nothing but just like shitting on people on Twitter.
Yeah, I guess we can move into the Wokescold topic because we've kind of been edging it for a while now.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I don't know if you've seen my two most recent videos, but I did a stream thing where I talked about the topic, and then I did a whole video discussing the Peter Coffin drama. The woke school
You know
types.
what?
Uh,
Could you really quickly, could you fill me in? So I have like a little secret account I use purely just to follow people with.
mhm.
And I follow Peter Coffin. And back when I was like in my, like staunch reactionary days, I used to hate Peter Coffin. Like I found him so snarky and annoying, which is
Yeah.
funny because I'm also snarky. Um, but what's all the drama going on with him? Could you just summarize it to me briefly? Like something with him being accused of some bullshit or something? I don't even know.
Yeah, so basically a very well-known woke scold on Twitter that went by the name of Jamie, um,
Okay.
who I'm going to throw out my theory had a massive crush on Peter Coffin's wife, and there's evidence of her like going into Ashley's like DMs and like spamming her with messages trying to become friends, and
Hmm.
Ash Coffin wasn't really into it, and kind of like not wanting to start this like parasocial relationship thing. And
Yeah.
then a couple weeks ago, or like a week ago, um, Jamie's partner tweeted out saying like making fun of Peter Coffin for having like a fake girlfriend or getting catfished or something. I don't know the whole thing. Like 10 years ago, and Jamie responds saying, "Oh no, he didn't get catfished. He didn't have a fake girlfriend. Actually, it was his current girlfriend." Or his wife, who was underage at the time, that was pretending to be someone else, and he was grooming her to be his wife, basically accusing him of being like a pedophile and like a groomer without any like
Like being
evidence
like
whatsoever.
Onision.
Yeah, being like an Onision, basically, with like no evidence whatsoever. And this person is like a very well known woke school. They were actually they ended up getting banned because of this because they encouraged their they tweeted out saying if you ever see H Bomber Guy in public, you should beat that transphobic piece of shit up or something like that. I don't remember the exact tweet
Damn.
because she's banned now, but like these people, these woke scolds, they go after bread tubers constantly,
I don't
and
understand it because you'd think that they would want to like further their cause.
they, I don't know what I don't know what their intentions are. I almost wonder how many of them are like secretly like just alt writers or something from like 4chan or Kiwi farms that just made sock Twitter accounts and now they just troll and make the left look bad on Twitter all day. Like,
I don't know.
there's this one guy that's been mauling about me for a week. I actually saw on your Instagram you're having an interesting situation with a guy that's like accusing you of being a grifter. Um,
Oh yeah, I'm actually dropping a video on him tomorrow.
oh
Stay tuned.
damn, I'm excited for that. But I got this
Yeah.
dude that's like mentioning me 4 times a day on Twitter. The dude's mauling over me. His name's like Danny Corks or something. He
Wait, I know who he is. Is he a history teacher guy?
I don't
I think
think
I know. Hold on.
so.
I'm almost positive I know who you're talking about because he shits on me all the time too.
Does he? I'm surprised
Hold
because
on.
he's just been going on here. I can actually check. Hey, actually, no, because I'm banned on Twitter. Does anyone have a link to his Twitter, by the way? He like
Does he call you pig puncher? Like if I search your name, will it come
yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah. If you search Pig Puncher on Twitter, then you'll see some of his
Yep,
tweets.
this guy. Ugh.
This dude has been mauling over me. I am living rent free in his head. This dude's been
Yeah.
mauling over me for days, and he's just been like. At first, it was like he was playing internet tough guy, like, "Oh, I can't wait to make a response video and wipe this smug smile off of his face." And I was like, "Okay, debate me then." And then he said, "Actually, I don't think he's worth responding to." And from what I like, I apparently he's not, but I was so sure this guy was like a Nazi, like fucking psyop or something because I heard from some pretty credible sources that he'd do things like if you had a German flag in your bio or something, he would go into your DMs and demand money as reparations for the Holocaust. That is so out of this world to me. It sounds like something a Nazi would make up to like justify their hatred of Jews.
I know that's ridiculous. Yeah, this is the same guy. I'm looking through his videos. He's done 2 videos on. Yeah, I'm familiar with him. He's really really annoying. And what's weird too is like he's the type of person that like nothing is good enough for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, like you can be like, you're like a leftist. You're supporting all these like liberal lefty causes, but he still doesn't like you. It's really
Yeah.
weird.
Well, he calls me a bigot over and over again, and then like my fans will like comment like, "Okay, how is he a bigot? Can you give me an example?" And he'll just like ignore it, or he'll say, "Oh, he associates with Vosh and defends Vosh, who is a sexual predator." It's like, okay, can you justify saying Vosh is a sexual predator? And it's like, okay, Discord DMs from 3 years ago. I don't think that's. It's like the amount that these people are willing to like stretch to hate the people that they hate is crazy, and some of them are like shamelessly, openly anti-Breadtube. There's one of them that you can probably see if you just scroll down a bit when you search my name. This one chick that literally has hashtag Breadtube is a cult, and
Oh wow.
another one that's like I'm the Chris Hansen of the left. Breadtube have a seat.
Hmm.
Is like these people are like
I just don't get
blatantly
it. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
it's
Like
really weird.
I feel like I've just gone off on them already so much, but if you have any takes you want to give, then I will gladly hear them.
Um, yeah, I mean, any takes on? I'm sorry, could you say that again?
On like the woke scold issue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really like I don't really get berated by the golds right now. I'm mostly getting attacked by like liberals who still like. It's kind of frustrating because it's very very challenging to change a reputation, and I
Mhm.
recognize that completely. So like, I still see comments of people like saying like, "Oh, Hunter Avallone, the guy who thinks being trans is a mental illness," and I'm like, "Oh God!" Like I said that bullshit way back. Like, dude, you said you started your content when you were 19. I started when I was 19, and I'm 23 now, and I still get shit for stuff I said when I was 19 on YouTube when I had like 7,000 subs. And I'm not saying I'm exempt from that either. Like, I've taken responsibility and acknowledged that those videos were wrong. I've also deleted those videos. Um, but I mostly get berated by people who like just don't bother to look up my new shit,
Mhm.
um, or by like far right people who are triggered that I like make fun of them all the time. Because the thing is, they're so easy to trigger. It's so much fun. Did you see my meme I posted the other day about paleoconservatism?
Oh, did the groupers get angry?
Oh my god, that post has like 800 or 900 comments now, and like it was, and I thought it was so funny. What I'll do now is I'll just take like a funny meme format and I'll just change it to be some way shitting on the alt right. They get so butthurt. It's literally so much fun, and it's funny too because I'm sort of using the sort of like wrecked libtard like meme approach on the alt right,
Mhm.
and they just can't handle it. Like they don't even know how to deal with it. It's really, really funny.
I feel like a lot of the right on YouTube is kind of or just online in general got like really comfy with the SJW owned craze, right? And so now
Hmm.
they're whenever they kind of they get a taste of their own medicine, they kind of break down a little bit.
Yeah, and the thing is like I'm not even shitting on like regular ass conservatives. Like people can be Republican. I don't really care. Like, but yeah, the thing where I said 6 examples of successful rebranding, um, about and it says American Autism Association, and then I changed it to saying it changed to paleoconservatism, and yeah, it has 899 comments. I'm looking at it now.
I'll bring it up on screen right now so people can see the meme. I saw that one. It's a good one.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, look, I get that. Like, see, that's something right there that like Wokescolds would definitely get like bitchy about, but I don't really care because it's so effective at triggering the right. And what's funny too is that like, I'm getting a good amount of comments. Also, it's like, good job, Hunter. Like, you've shown me that the right can be just as triggered as the left, and I'm kind of like, yeah, both sides are kind of stupid sometimes, as far as like liberal conservative goes, I
Hmm.
guess.
Oh, for sure.
So. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't have too much experience with the woke scolds. I mean, I did back when I was making like blatant transphobic content, but as of late, nah, they kind of just don't really talk about me. Or if they do, it's usually still with like negative whatever, but I don't care.
Well, I want to clarify because usually when I refer to woke scolds, I'm not really talking about someone that's like, "Hey, you said a transphobic thing. It's like actually transphobic. That's bad." Like when I
Hmm.
talk about woke scolds, I'm talking about these people who just they sit on Twitter all day. They only go after lefty figures, and they
Hmm.
like clip chimp. Like they'll take clips out of context and go after like other lefty figures exclusively. And I used to be
Right.
like, okay, all right, I've been mass supported by these people enough. I need to just like block them and ignore them. That's how you deal with these people. But then this
Hmm.
Peter Coffin drama shit happens, and he gets accused of being a fucking pedophile groomer, and it's like, well, I guess no, you can't just ignore them because then they'll just try to ruin your career by making
Right.
shit up about you. So I don't know what we're gonna do about this issue because
It's so stupid. And it's funny too because so like I don't follow Contra at all. Um and I basically know of her exclusively through Vosh, and I've seen some videos where Vosh is defending her, and even though I'm like not really that kept up with all the drama, like I saw him go through a video that Lily Orchard did on Contra,
oh, it's so bad.
and yeah, I was literally like by the end of that I was like full on Contra's side, and I thought this Lily Orchard person who I'd never heard of before was like so stupid, and they seemed really jealous too.
Yeah, she's very she's this is literally all her videos. She's extremely angry. She like every time it's like you know how like when you do your videos you kind of have like the snarky like kind of like you're a little bit angry as you're talking. It's kind of your character that you play.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's her character or how she really is because when she says these things, she sounds so genuinely angry. She accused ContraPoints of being anti-Semitic because she sells shirts that make fun of the like the reptiles
The
rule the world,
lizard,
that yeah, the
yeah.
lizard people thing. Like that is the most uncharitable bad faith perception you could have of that joke.
You have to like that's the thing is you have to literally like the thing with these people is they have to jump through so many hoops to find something to get offended by. And by the
Yeah.
time they reach that conclusion, pretty much everyone's just laughing at them.
Yeah, until they mass report you. Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point, like I'll once I do my big rebrand, I'm just gonna like go in. I hate having to do this, but Nick Fuentes does it, and it's very effective. And I hate doing this, but just like searching up my name and seeing anyone who's like shit talking me, just insta block them so they can't report you. Because if you have them blocked, they can't report you. It's why Nick
Mm,
Fuentes is still up online. I hate blocking people. My philosophy was mute them so they can maul over your tweets, but you don't get notified when they say dumb shit in your mentions, you know? Like,
mm,
but then they can still report you and then you get banned. So, yeah,
mm.
this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're ridiculous. But either way, we'll move on from that. Um,
Yeah, that's definitely frustrating.
so the Iowa caucus and Bernie Sanders. What is your take on what's happened so far?
Uh it just seems like a complete mess, and I honestly wish I could offer a more like analytical, mature response about it all, but I've been following it, and I'm just like, I just don't know what the fuck is going on over there. They used an app, and then the app malfunctioned or something. And now some people are saying that like it was rigged, and then other people are saying that's just conspiratorial. So I really don't know. I'm kind of just watching from afar, waiting to see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it's conspiratorial. There's quite a bit of evidence to go into the possibility it's rigged. So like
Okay,
for a
so this
little
is why I'm talking to you. See, now you can
yeah.
explain this to me.
So for a little extra detail, the app is unnamed, but it's made by a development team called Shadow. And
Right, which,
Shadow,
and they worked with Pete, right?
Shadow is owned by Acronym, which is like an overall larger company, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Pete's campaign donated 50 grand to Acronym, and the CEO of Acronym is a massive Pete Buttigieg fan. Like when he announced he was running, she tweeted out, "Oh my God, Mayor Pete is running! Heart eyes, heart eyes, heart eyes." A tweet which is now deleted, but people screenshotted.
Mm.
So it's a little. I don't think it's conspiratorial to say it's a little weird, especially
No, no, no.
considering.
I don't think that's conspiratorial at all. Just to clarify, I also
Yeah.
know it was really weird that Pete announced himself the winner right away too.
Before even any like that was like over 24 hours ago, and we still don't have all the data yet, I don't think.
No, we don't. Yeah, last I looked, it was still only like 82%.
This is unprecedented.
Yeah,
This has
no,
never happened before.
it's really really strange. It's weird.
And it's part of a pattern. Bernie was pulling ahead of Buttigieg, and that's when the DNC stopped releasing the data, and everything went silent. When Bernie started to pull ahead of Buttigieg, that's when it started to happen. And the DNC and just CNN and like the mainstream media has been like doing everything they can to like dampen Bernie's success. They'll do things like when he was if he's leading in a state, they'll put him all the way at the bottom of the list, but like even though he has the majority of the percentage of like the projected votes
Yeah,
and shit. Like
I saw some of that, and I also saw like during the debate how
oh yeah.
CNN was so biased towards Bernie, and it was kind of like they were just siding with Warren. It was really weird.
Oh shit! Wait, what? Someone just sent me a Twitter link saying there's nothing conspiratorial about it. They've been caught switching vote totals. What is this?
I would want to see that. Yeah.
Okay, this is like so much data for me to go over, but I'm gonna go ahead and toss you this link if you want to check it out, just
All right,
in your
sure.
free time. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely think there's some fishy shit. Oh my god, that debate, that one debate where they're like, so Bernie or Mr. Sanders, you deny saying that a woman could never be the president. And he says, yes, I do. And he goes on saying, as far back as in the 80s, you said that a woman could be president. There's like clips of him in front of like a class of like young girls saying, one of you could grow up to be president one day. And he even
Hmm.
goes on to say Hillary won the popular vote. Like the idea that a woman couldn't be president is ludicrous. And then the fucking person asking the question goes to Elizabeth Warren and says, how do you feel about Bernie saying that a woman could never be president?
Oh yeah,
That
I
was
saw that clip, and like their the little like text down below said something to like Bernie responds to saying this happened or something. Remember I showed my wife. I was like, this looks like a fucking parody almost. It's really really weird.
it's pulled straight out of the Onion. It's actually crazy how like I used to make the joke like back in 2016 that the Onion is going to go out of business because the real news is just so ridiculous, but we're getting to the point where I feel like that's going to happen. I mean, we have like the shit that's gone on like we are less than 2 months into this year. We're already like going to war with Iran fucking. We've got Australia burning the fuck up. We've got the coronavirus. Like it's been a tough
Yeah,
year so far. Is this going to be a repeat of 2016?
I don't know.
I don't know,
I don't
dude.
know. Hopefully, not for my politics.
Hope not. I think yeah, I think you're going in a good direction. Like even if you don't end up being a leftist or even a liberal, I definitely admire that you're an honest person, which is surprising because like the way like your persona on YouTube wouldn't give the idea that you're like super open to other ideas, you know? But
Yeah, and you know what? Like, especially my more recent content, I've really like sort of been like slowly but surely changing up my image just a bit. I mean, because way back when my channel was first like popping off, right? When 2016 times. I was definitely like, I came off very angry, like just this angsty, like pissed off. And the thing is a lot of that was genuine because I would get on my camera. Oops, sorry, that's my mic. Um, I would get on my camera and I would be so pissed off with what I was recording. And I would just be kind of like pissed at the world or whatever. And I think a lot of that came just from me not really understanding. But I still get mad, but I feel like I'm more like appropriate with when I'm mad and when I'm choosing to just rather approach things in a more snarky way. For example, tomorrow when I respond to that guy who's been calling me a grifter, um, I'm not gonna take the angry approach because I really have no reason to be mad. I just
Yeah.
I'd rather just kind of be snarky and laugh a lot of it off.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. You've been doing your content lately has been pretty good, and I've had people in chat that are like mauling at me like you're being too nice to him. He's been uploading anti-feminist stuff, and I watched those videos, and you were more so just like critiquing the like liberal pop feminism kind of
The pop
stuff.
feminism, yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's the thing is like I don't know if you watched my feminist restaurant video that I did a few days ago.
Yeah, I did.
Um okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. That video turned out to be really successful. I was really glad about it. But that video like the thing is I'm trying to take a much more nuanced approach now too. And it's just not black and white. It's not like feminism is dumb, but it's much more like this aspect, this kind of brand of feminism isn't the best. And even when I went into the wage gap, I felt like I did my best to explain it in a way that debunked it, but also like acknowledged like the systematic discrimination in the past that sort of led to women choosing less paying jobs today.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to sort of like go through it in a way that like, I don't really want to necessarily go like full blown right, full blown left. And I know some people might call me like a fence sitter for that, but I would rather just sort of like take the nuanced approach and talk about all like there's a lot of like intricacies there that I like to kind of go through now.
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of caused, been really healthy change for my content because I feel a little bit like my content's been maturing with me. And that's how I want it to be. Like and I've kind of said this before, like if I was still making the same content as I was when I was 19, I think there'd be a problem with that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree that your content has matured with you. I mean, when I look back at what you were making like a year ago, that's what you make now is way more mature than what you made back then. And that's
Yeah.
like even regardless from like your political views changing, just you getting older and getting more life experience, life situation
Yeah,
changing.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. And I think that, just having a kid in general definitely changed my perspective just a bit because it kind of, it forced me to grow up a little faster and realize that the world isn't so black and white and that there are some issues that like need to be addressed. And writing a lot of just issues off that people complain about is like, just like, don't be such a bitch about it or whatever, just is not fixing anything.
Yeah, just going full like facts don't care about your feelings when like some issues like you do have to like my ideology or my reason my motivation for why I believe what I believe is I want to maximize human well-being, which means I do care about people's feelings. But if people are going to put their feelings in front of like the facts of the matter, that's a
Hmm.
problem, but I'm not going to like go about it in a really mean way unless I'm like dealing with a Nazi or something.
Right, right, right. And that's like, I mean, I'm not going to take a middle lane approach with everything, obviously, because that would be kind of stupid. Um, for me, it's more like, yeah, like I'm fine to hear new ideas, but then like, there's still times where I'm, gotta take a hard line position, but I'm okay with that. And it's also just, it's a lot better. Like it feels a lot better to be doing politics when you're not only when like your whole existence isn't designed to just oppose something, but like I actually support things now too. Like my channel started off very much just like I hate liberals, I hate feminists, and I'm gonna make videos about how much I hate them. And it was just like that's kind of all it was. It was sort of like hating something isn't a political position.
Hmm.
Um, and I've noticed that that's kind of a flaw with a lot of people on the right now. It's really kind of a shame. And hey, if anyone here is watching who is my fan, I'm not shit talking you, all right? I'm just saying, generally speaking, that I've seen some comments that are like, anyone that triggers a liberal's good in my book, and it's like, so then by that logic, that means you're okay with these, like. that you got to be able to, have some standards too, I guess.
Yeah,
So
I think that's a
it's like it's not doesn't make you principled to just oppose the left.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with this. And I think that's what was like one of the biggest reasons the alt right rabbit hole existed and still does exist to an extent, but was so like prevalent in 2016. You had all these channels that were anti feminist, anti SJW, anti Black Lives Matter, and any like really progressive group, but they weren't
Mhm.
pro anything. And so
Right.
you became so anti all of that that when you came across somebody who was anti all of that but pro something, they were pro white ethno state, you know, and that's what
Hmm.
you get pulled into because you can't just be against something and not have something to be for.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I was very much like in that environment for the longest time. I mostly just opposed, opposed, opposed. And I mean, I even remember even back then I would get Hunter's always like hating on everything. Like, does he ever support anything? And I guess, I guess you could argue that my videos are still pretty like, they still mostly like oppose, but throughout those videos, I'm also talking about things I support. Tomorrow I'll give you a little sneak peek, you and your people watching. So this guy Joel Patrick, who's been calling me out, he's been calling me a grifter, and literally the only reason he's been is because I called him a grifter and I actually exposed him for being one. Like I literally have screenshots showing that he fakes drama to get followers. Like that's the fucking textbook definition of grifter. Um, and so he's so butthurt. He's been calling me a grifter or whatever. And his whole like proof for this is that like I used to hold beliefs that I don't hold anymore, which I'm like I've been so public about that. Um, but admittedly, I did work with PragerU for a little while earlier last year, back before I like got in with like debating Vosh and everything, and my whole stance on gender changed. And I did a video on there being only two genders, um, and so Joel was basically trying to call me a grifter because I made money from the video, right? Which I actually think, and I address this in my video tomorrow in a much more articulate way, but I think that's actually like a fair criticism. And I say in my video, I'm like, well, thanks for holding me accountable. So I'm planning on donating the $170 that I made from that video to an LGBT cause in Joel Patrick's name. So
Oh, that's the best part of it. I saw you post that on Instagram. I saw you put like in your story because you were
yeah,
keeping everyone updated on this drama, and I saw that, and I remember telling my friend Chad about it. God, that's such a good one.
that's
Oh
good
yeah.
because it's like I don't know. It's gonna be funny, but after that, like I just gonna stop, beefing with him. He's really not worth my time that much, and I wasn't even gonna do a video on him until today. He posted a video, quote unquote, exposing me, which was literally like the weakest thing I've ever seen. But it was so good. I was like, you know what, fuck it. I got to do a little video where I talk about this.
Hey,
And it's also been a long time since I've done like a called out episode on my channel. So
uh,
fuck it, I'll go for it.
talk shit, get hit. That's how YouTube is.
There you go. Yep.
Really quick, I have a question from somebody who donated. Parazendas, thank you for the $5. Says, question for Hunter: do you think Caitlyn Bennett's popularity is propelled by right wingers' mindless desire to own the libs?
Yes, absolutely. Literally, absolutely. I mean, I just did a video on Caitlyn Bennett. I may have arguably been the first like center right person to call her out. Actually, 'Cause I literally think Caitlyn Bennett is like a piece of shit.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
so yeah, no, there were a lot of comments. I mean, granted, most comments supported me. Most of my followers supported me. It was great. But there were a few comments I saw that's where I saw that comment. That's anyone that triggers the libs is good with my book. Or like, it's also like I think there's a lot of thirsty guys that they're just like they just see a girl with tits triggering liberals and they're like, oh, she's hot.
Yeah, they just
Like
want to bury their face in that fucking poopy ass. You know what I'm saying?
it's yeah, it's so gross. And like it was I was actually like kind of grossed out by well, not really that wouldn't be but it's like just cringy how many comments I got that was like, but she's hot. It's like, yeah, you can be hot and stupid, surprisingly enough. um, yeah, I think that Caitlyn Bennett's popularity is certainly propelled by the mindless sort of just trigger the libs, trigger the libs. Like that's your whole political ideology, sort of. And a lot of people don't know this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if you're familiar with this. I would guess you would be, but Caitlyn Bennett dog whistles to the alt-right pretty frequently as well.
Uh-huh.
It's actually pretty fucking disgusting. And it's the same kind of thing that, like, a couple years back I wouldn't have really noticed it, but now that I'm more familiar with how these more like, alt-righters talk, I'm familiar with the terms she used. So like the video she did when I was reviewing some content to make my hit piece on her, um she pulled a classic alt-right talking point. She was like, just so you guys know, the demographics are changing and they're voting against gun control. So that's just something to think about when it comes to immigration. And it's like so obviously like a dog whistle. I mean, that's the fucking alt-right talking point.
That's the shit that annoys me so much when like because they're supposed to be a libertarian outlet, right? But
They're
everything
not
they
libertarian.
support,
She's actually tweeted straight up that her goal is to infiltrate libertarianism and make it right wing.
she's just supporting fascism, like
Yeah, and that's the
authoritarianism.
thing is, like she goes around at like making people pads in the bathrooms or something, which is, to be honest, such a non-issue. It reminds me of something that I would get like triggered about, like when I was first starting my channel. Um, but it's like, isn't that the definition of libertarianism? Like letting people just live their life how they fucking want?
That one in that video, that one guy she comes up to and she's like, "Do you think there should be pads in the bathroom, in the men's bathroom for men who have periods?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, if they have the budget for it, why not?" And she's like, "Really, you think that they need that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't really care." Like a true libertarian.
I know, yeah. That was, I don't know if you saw my video on Kate Bennett yet, but you should check it out. I actually took an approach where I didn't throw any kind of like petty roasts. I didn't bring up the fact that she allegedly shit herself at the frat party, as tempting as it was, because I wanted to construct that video to actually change the minds of some of her fans. And it proved really successful. It's been up now for about like a little over 2 days. And I got a really good amount of comments that said like they lost respect for her, or that they went unsubscribed after watching my video. So I would definitely suggest, if you have the time, to check out that video, because I worked on it in a way to make it appeal to a right wing audience, and also just show them how stupid this person is and how they just shouldn't be supporting her.
Absolutely. No, I've been watching
And
your
actually, you
stuff.
know what? Just to follow up with that really quickly, that's why that guy Joel Patrick is calling me a grifter now. Him and Caitlyn are like little butt buddies. So he's literally like a cliche white knight, to the point that like since I called Caitlyn out, now he's like calling me out.
Oh,
It's
he's
so
simping.
fucking cringy.
He's
Yeah,
simping.
he's simping hard, dude. He's a coomer.
He's trying to get some. He wants her to shit on him at a fucking frat party. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The meme is too good. I know it's not good for arguing ideas, but the meme is too good.
The meme is good. Like I saw some tweets. It was like, why is Caitlyn so obsessed with trans bathrooms when she can't even use the bathroom herself?
Maybe she shit herself at the party because there was a trans woman in the women's bathroom.
Exactly. Yeah. Ex- yeah. No, that's funny. I'm gonna have to head out kind of soon. So if your chat wanted to ask any questions or anything, um, I don't want to, hijack your stream, but now would probably be the time to do it.
That's perfect, actually. Yeah, we're just over an hour. To be honest with you, I have not slept today. I am over 24 hours no sleep. So,
God damn.
yeah. So, chat. Anybody have any questions? We got a few donations, but none of them were questions. So I'll read those afterwards.
Okay.
But does anybody have any questions for Hunter?
Hopefully not too many, because Pig Puncher needs to sleep.
Oh yeah, are you and Vosh gonna play Fortnite still?
Oh, hopefully at some point.
Hell yeah! If you want to
Look,
if you want a trio, I am down to join. I will listen. I may have boomer hands, and we may be as old as dirt. But we're gonna shit all over those 12-year-olds in Fortnite.
do you play Fortnite actually?
I was very, very good at Fortnite before politics. I don't play it as much anymore, but I still got it.
Dude, you got to add me on there. Me and you can play sometime. I've been looking for a new teammate to play. And you know what? When I'm not doing video shit, I always like to kick back and play a little bit of Fortnite.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm down. Yeah, I'll stream it. If you're
Hell
okay
yeah.
with that. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no problem.
That sounds like a good idea. How do you achieve the trad life, Hunter?
Um, I do it to piss off the alt right. It's really all. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? I don't really know. I wasn't trying to achieve any trad life, but it's been very productive for me, and it definitely has greatly improved my quality of life. So
Yeah,
there you go.
I kind of have a trad girlfriend. She's pretty awesome. She's, Aryan trad girlfriend.
Oh wow, there you
Yeah.
go, dude.
Hey, not Nazis malding. I've got another
Aryan
question.
wives rise up.
Hell yeah. Well, we're not married, but
You
maybe
know what
one
I
day.
meant.
Who knows? Maybe one day. I got another dono here. Hunter, are you a deist, agnostic, or full-blown anti-theist? Deist being apathetic slash unconscious creator. Agnostic equals not really knowing, and atheist being believing there is no creator.
I'm probably somewhere between agnostic and atheist. Um, just because like I'm still open to the concept of there being a higher power. Um, but I it's just difficult because there's just no proof of it.
Yeah, I'm basically there too. I definitely can't rule out the possibility, but with what we are
Right.
able to observe in the universe, it seems like we've sort of been able to like piece together a lot of things that were left completely unanswered throughout history that were chalked up to God.
Hmm.
Thousands of years ago, I assume ancient humans assumed lightning strikes were caused by God. Now we know where they
Right.
actually come from. So as time
Right.
goes by, we'll learn more, and we won't chalk these things up to God. I assume.
Absolutely.
What else? Does Hunter consider himself a libertarian of any sort? Not specifically right libertarian.
I probably would fall more in line with libertarian because I'm very just like pro freedom. I just want people to be able to live their lives how they want with as like with as much like as yeah, tripping all over my words here. And I have slept. Um, I don't want a lot of government interference, but I really just I'm trying to avoid labels right now because I've learned this the hard way that apparently now calling yourself conservative, if you don't fall in line with like every single dogmatic conservative value, that makes you like a lib or something. So I'm just not labeling myself anything right now, because I kind of hold opinions that are, I guess, all over the spectrum.
I respect that a lot. I definitely
Yeah,
do.
thank
We'll
you.
go over a few more questions because I imagine you're pretty busy.
Yeah, I gotta be heading out here in a second. We can probably question now.
Yeah, one more question from Comrade Courtney. What is your take on gun control?
Hey, comrade Courtney, I recognize that person. She
Oh yeah, she's a regular in Vosh's stream.
gun control, it's one of those things that like I'm definitely not on board with gun control thing. Like I think it's important that people are able to have a gun. I think it's important for self-defense. Um, but I'm also not one of those people that's like any kind of gun control policy is an infringement of the Second Amendment. I think it's more again, like I know it sounds like a cop out to be like it's just the middle approach, but in all honesty, I sincerely do think that it is somewhere in the middle. Like I think there are probably certain guns that civilians just don't need. Um, but then I certainly am against like a strict gun control or gun ban, I guess, because I do think it's important that people have the ability to defend themselves. But like I'm all for like good background checks. I think there needs to be more stringent background checks. I think it needs to be more difficult to get a gun. So I guess that would make me pro gun control to a degree, but I'm not for like banning guns by any means.
Yeah, you're more so in favor of regulation rather than banning.
Control, I guess. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like guns can be like they can be used for good or bad, and that's why I think they need to be regulated. Just like a lot
absolutely.
of other things are regulated too.
There's a lot of stupid fucking people who have guns that leave them out and their kids end up getting access to them and someone gets hurt.
Yeah.
You get your occasional fucking dude who takes their dad's gun and goes and shoots up their school. That's definitely a problem. And I don't know what the solution is to stop that. Is it gun
Hmm.
buyback programs? Is it straight up banning guns? I doubt it.
Yeah.
Personally, I
Yeah.
am of the opinion that I will not rest until every single trans woman has an AK-47 and a tank.
There you go.
That's
That's a good approach.
that's my approach. I'm a
Trans tanks.
just painted with the pink, blue, and white on it. Um,
Yeah.
well, dude, it's been really nice talking to you. This has actually been very fun. There was a few things I wanted to go over, but if you ever want to come on again, we can discuss those as well. Um,
Absolutely. By all means, I would love to again. but it is getting kind of late, so I probably should be heading out.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah for me. It's not. It's oh yeah, you're EST too, so it's already over 9 p.m. Um,
Yeah, dude, you got to go to sleep, all right?
yeah, I do. I'm going into a coma after this.
There you go.
Well, man, have a great night. If you want to hit me up to come on stream again, feel free. And if you want to play some Fortnite, I will brush off the old QWSD, which are my build buttons, and I will crank some 90s and get some victory royales.
Sounds good, dude. Yeah, we'll definitely have to play some Fortnite sometime, and I'll be happy to come on your stream again.
Alrighty, dude. Well, hey, have a great night.
You too. Thanks again for having me on.
Anytime. See ya.
See you.
What a nice dude. He's really, by the way, guys, he's really nice in DMs as well. Like he isn't just like being like fake nice. I definitely think that I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be all like, "Oh, Pig Puncher, you softball too much. He still puts out content that's could be considered harmful." And it's like, well, guys, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Why should I be mean to somebody who is being polite and civil and is openly engaging with new ideas and leftist beliefs? I completely understand the concerns of people who don't want me to like softball Hunter, but I do think it's probably more productive to be nice to people who are openly interested in changing their beliefs. That's my belief. That's some shit Joe Biden would say, maybe, but hey, I think it's a good quote. But that was a good talk. We're gonna play some Fortnite sometime.